Today on CityCast Madison, it's the Friday News Roundup. Here's what's happening around the hamlet this week. Workers at the former CUNA Mutual Group began Madison's largest labor strike in a decade. St. Vinnie's now offers more than vintage clothes and old couches. You can get a loan. And the service industry mourns the death of Roger Bartz, one of the owners of the Hot Lunch restaurant. I'm here with Bianca Martin. It's Friday, May 26th. I'm Molly Stentz, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Bon matin! Good morning, folks. It's the Friday News Roundup, and it's just the cowgals today, rodeoing around a full week of news. I tried to make that word work. Look how well it went. Sir Dylan Brogan is off this week, enjoying a much-deserved break. We haven't fully identified his whereabouts, but one strong assumption is he's training crows and ravens across the state. Power to you, D-Ron. Dill pickles. But hey, the news doesn't sleep, so we got you covered. I'm here with Molly, head honcho and lead producer. Good morning, Molly.
Yeehaw!
And we have some big labor organizing that hit Madison streets this past week. We're talking big. Unionized workers at the formerly known as CUNA Mutual Group, now called True Stage, staged Madison's largest strike in over a decade. About 450 workers, or about a quarter of the Madison office, has been on strike since last Friday. And they're on strike over contract negotiations. They've been without a contract for around 15 months. Early this week, they authorized the strike to go through June. Have you seen this, Molly?
Yeah, I have been following it because I feel like with a lot of union organizing and strikes, you immediately understand what the issues are and what they're facing, like teacher strikes or trade union strikes. But it's like, CUNA Mutual employees, what do they do exactly? They're office and professional workers working for a mutual insurance company. So it's not something that you maybe run across every day, but they're huge. They're one of our largest employers based here in Madison, and there's a lot of people affected.
Yeah, definitely. So I was a part of a union in Chicago Public Media. So it's a media union. So a lot of us were office workers. I didn't really leave also in the pandemic working from home, but certainly still labor, right?
Well, you bring up an interesting point, right? So you're talking about remote work, and that's one of the things at issue here with this conflict. A lot of workers, and this is a trend we've seen post-pandemic, do not want to return to the office. And so one of the things, among many things, right, they're asking for wages to keep up with inflation. They're asking for continued access to a healthcare plan, but they're also asking for more security around their remote work policy, meaning they don't want to get a memo. They don't want to get an email one day saying, everybody back to the office tomorrow because we said so.
Yes.
Because the pandemic has fundamentally shifted work for a lot of, white collar work particularly.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of employers are going through this and trying to determine, well, what are our needs? I have a close friend who was summoned back to work, and the discussion was ongoing. Is it a partial? Is it a hybrid? And ultimately they said that they are going to be full-time back at work, saying that people are more effective in meetings face-to-face. I've also heard, that remote work is a feminist issue. There are some benefits to having remote work. So it's this ongoing conversation. And the company says it's determined to reach a fair and competitive agreement. That said, it's been an ongoing discussion, and they have extended the deadline for how long this strike is going to go on. It could go through June, possibly at this point. I think they're hoping that it ended last week, and that didn't happen. But the two sides have been delivering proposals to one another. That said, the union saying that the management illegally fired their chief steward and didn't bargain in good faith. And now there have been some new charges against the company since the strike has begun.
Yeah, it's interesting. Definitely we have seen a lot more union activity lately, particularly in the hospitality sector and also, high tech sector. We saw Activision, games, high-tech workers joining unions. It's really interesting because, this nation had this great labor history and the state had this great labor history and then went through this real low period, right, for 2011.
Yeah.
And unions still are a small fraction, represent a small fraction of the population, but there seems to be growing interest.
It does seem that way. Like, I remember it feels like not too long ago that you weren't hearing about union stuff at all. And now it's like every day you're hearing, just heard about Madison Sourdough and them wanting to join a union.
Yeah. How many times have I driven by that huge building on Mineral Point and just wondered what is going on in there? I don't know if you ever have, but I have. I knew it was huge. I knew it's big. But I've never really known all of the deets.
Yeah, well, you can drive by it now and see some workers picketing unless things change here really quickly. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, and a strike is a hard thing to maintain, right? Being out of work. But, for anyone who needs to borrow a little cash, I got some news for you. But before we get into that, Bianca, I need a break. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, Memorial Day is upon us, and I have an idea where I might start. Hey, it's Friday, and summer is happening in this city. AKA, it's the perfect time for a cookout or picnic. So if this weekend you're looking for some libations to share, why not check out one of my go-tos? Cork and Bottle. It's the locally owned liquor store on East Johnson near the corner of Johnson and Patterson. And it's a wonder and a half. I love peeping their selection for new finds. My latest pick, a wholly refreshing Wisconsin-made dill-infused aquavit. It's a knockout. Pickleback? No thanks, I'm all good. They also have biodynamic wines, artsy beers, top shelf tequilas, and CBD water. And they feel like family to me. Plus, dogs are welcome. See what I mean? Cork and Bottle is a good time. Cheers. Attorney Z. Usman with Usman Law has helped thousands of folks fight back against abusive debt collectors, and he wants to help you too. His advice? Sit down with a list of all your debts and figure out how long each will take to pay off. You can do this using a debt repayment calculator online or contact Attorney Usman, who offers this service for free. The average interest rate on credit cards today is 25%. So, for example, if you borrowed $10,000, you're really gonna owe a lot more. If you pay $300 a month, it'll take more than 3 years to be done. And that $10K will have cost you $15 in the end. But there's help. To learn the easiest way to pay things off, visit madtownlawyer.com to schedule a free call with Attorney Usman.
So speaking of needing some cash, I saw this interesting story in the Cap Times by Natalie Yar. There's a new microloan program in Madison. Have you heard about this?
I saw that story. I was like, oh, all right, interesting.
Yeah. So we've heard about how terrible payday loans can be and how expensive it is to be poor. And they're basically unregulated in this state, meaning they can charge whatever interest rates they want, right? A good interest rate at a bank, 8%, 10%. Credit cards can be 20, 30%. These guys can charge hundreds of percents.
I know,
right?
it's robbery.
500%.
It's robbery. And it's people, who are at their last, options, basically. So they're like, well, I'll take anything because I need it. I have needs.
I'm stuck. Yeah. Well, so this program is operated by St. Vincent de Paul, St. Vinnie's of the thrift store fame. They are more than a thrift store. There's a whole nonprofit social service agency behind it that does housing. They provide food pantry assistance to people that are in need. And they're starting this new program because they notice that it's a problem. Sometimes people just need some quick cash to deal with, whether it's some emergency medical issue or whatever it is that they're facing. sometimes they just need like $500.
Yeah.
And that's what this program is going to do. It's going to offer micro loans. So anything from like $500, $1,000, $2,000, with the idea that it's really easy to get. Like, it's not this huge long approval process. You get screened by the folks at St. Vinnie's. They have this deal with the Bank of Sun Prairie that's administering the program, and they can get you that money in like a day, which is pretty amazing.
It's definitely amazing. And like you said, the payday loans are something that folks will take out, and it can impact them for so long. Like, it's just like further entrenching already a tough situation. And so it's really exciting to hear St. Vinnie's kind of stepping into this space, trying to figure out a way that we can support people who are in economic instability in a way that doesn't totally dust them for years to come.
Yeah. So it's starting up in June, and you can find out more. We'll throw a link in our show note. It's administered by the Bank of Sun Prairie, and right now they're just starting out. I think it's just 30 loans total, so kind of a small program, but they're starting it. It's a first step.
Yeah.
And the interest rate, they said, is going to be basically the bank's lowest rate. So they thought maybe somewhere around 8%.
Okay.
Not, 500%.
Yeah, like not
big difference.
200%. I mean, honestly, this is really exciting. It's kind of reminding me of, we've been wanting to talk about this guaranteed income program that Madison's been doing, but it's the idea of supporting financial security and economic mobility for low-income community members, that Madison families deserve a right to have a certain, at the very base level, standard of living, especially in the context of everything that's going on with inflation. We've been talking about childcare costs and stagnant wages. Folks need help more than ever. So,
yeah, that's like an ER visit, or an emergency vet bill, or your car breaks down. I mean, any number of things can happen to you unexpectedly and really set you back, right? If your kid's sick, if you can't go to work, right? Mm-hmm. Like, these are things that are really gonna spiral you downward. So yeah, it seems like an interesting program. You do have to pay it back, right? Unlike the guaranteed income. Right. This one you do have to pay back, but it's at least you're not going to end up paying double what you took out, like if you were to go to a payday loan.
Good on you, St. Vinnie's. Good on you.
Yeah. Where else are people coming together?
Yeah. Well, something that's heavy on my heart and that's been on my mind, the service industry is coming together, hospitality, food, restaurants, that sort of thing, rallying around the loss of a beloved member of the community and the illness of another. The industry's mourning the loss of the bright personality who is Roger Bartz. He's the co-owner of Hot Lunch. It was a new sandwich shop that started, late last year on East Johnson Street. And he's a longtime service industry veteran. And his business partner, Mike Serve, is hospitalized. So
can I admit that I don't even know where this place is?
That's fine. It was it was like a neighborhood, a little food spot. I mean, I think you do know exactly where it is because it's across from the Caribou.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's in the old,
Johnny Hunter's the old four-quarter?
Yeah, the old four-quarter space. And it was really fun and decorative, it still exists. It's just temporarily closed because of, obviously the circumstances around Roger Bartz. He died earlier this month of a staph infection, and his co-owner, who we go by Serve, was hospitalized apparently from a separate infection earlier this month, but he's been in the hospital for 3 weeks, and so the community is coming together to try and help him with his hospital bills.
Did you know him?
Yeah, I knew Roger. And he was not only just like a neighborhood face. He was known, he used to work at Merchant. He was a lead server at Rare Steakhouse. He worked at, the Great Dane. There's any number of places that he was a leader and a bright spirit. And, actually, he had just waved at me across the street the week before he passed away. And it just was such a shock. It was so unexpected. And it was just, death doesn't make any sense. But he gave so much to the community and so much to anyone. Like, I saw one of the workers at Hot Lunch quote saying that he was everyone's best friend. He was one of those type of people who just makes everyone feel welcome. And so it's a really, really big loss, and it's really a tragedy. And meanwhile, you know, his partner, his business partner, also got an infection and has been struggling for the past couple of weeks in the hospital. He's had multiple surgeries on his leg. Went into sepsis, had kidney failure. So, but we heard from him this week, basically saying he feels lucky to be alive, but he misses Roger.
So was this like a freak thing? I mean, they didn't have health insurance, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Mike, it sounds like, doesn't have health insurance, and I'm not sure about Roger, but, you know, the fact they passed away, it seems like it was so unexpected. It happened so fast, like they couldn't save him, basically. The community's coming together basically now to try and get some funding for, you know, Mike, who's in the hospital. There's going to be a fundraiser at Merchant, which is downtown, on Monday, this coming Monday. And it's going to be just serving Roger's favorite drinks. And it's going to benefit Roger's family. And also Mike serves medical bills. It's kind of a celebration of life and also a fundraiser, but I don't know, my heart, it just is really sad to lose any member of the community, but to have both of them get sick like this, it's very sad, and people are mourning.
Yeah, it just feels like so often, whether it's a bartender or a restaurant worker or a musician in our community, they just live so close to the edge that anytime anything happens, you know, you get in a car accident, or, you know, you cut yourself, or something happens, some freak accident, it's like you're just so close to the edge.
Yeah, and I mean, and that happens in restaurants and bartender, you know, constantly having cuts, and that's, you know, definitely an easy way to get an infection. So,
God, I wonder why workers' comp wouldn't cover it, but here I am. I'm like problem-solving brain. It doesn't even.
Yeah, well, they were brand new too. The company's brand new, but definitely a sad situation. The community is mourning together and coming together for this event. And again, we'll toss the link in there if you're interested.
When is it again?
Yeah, it's this coming Monday at Merchant.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about your friend, and I hope his partner pulls through.
Yes, I do as well. We're going to bring up the energy a little bit about an event some news, something coming back to our little hamlet, I've been calling it, that is Madison. Some good-spirited fun. Let's talk about something fun, Molly, that's coming back.
And now for something completely different, right? We need like a Monty Python segue.
Yes!
I don't know. Do we have any coconuts? Horse coconuts? Yes. I don't know. Something. Yeah. So, folks, the World Naked Bike Ride is back. Woo! It's coming back. Like the robins, like the warm weather, like all things that come back.
That are in bloom. Big booties. Bare booties.
Oh, pasty people on bikes. Oh,
and some non-pasties.
Yeah. But come on, mostly pasty.
A lot of pasty. We've been in all winter.
Yeah. Oh, man. So June 17th. It's, you know, rejoice, recoil, however you feel about the World Naked Bike Ride. Prepare as you will. It is coming 11 o'clock, June 17th. And it is, if you haven't seen it, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a bunch of people butt naked on bikes, which sounds like it'd be uncomfortable, but people swear by it.
Oh, I guess you could be uncomfortable in a lot of ways, but it's like a body positivity thing. Own it, love it, share it. And it's legal. It's a legalized nudity.
Yeah, it is, right? As long as you aren't doing anything like lewd or
Lascivious.
Lascivious.
It's like mischievous and luscious, put in one word. That's going to upset anyone who's prude.
Yep. You are now forewarned. Don't say we didn't tell you.
Forewarned, and cordially invited. We're not throwing it. But Madison has a good long tradition of people having fun in biking groups. And so I'm kind of excited to see whatever this brings about. Are there any rules to it?
I think you're supposed to sign up in advance. I don't know if everybody does. Then they announce the location. I feel like it's usually always downtown or right around the Capitol Square. I don't know if there's any rules. I think they try to keep it upbeat and not weird. Yeah. But I do think that is their whole jam, is they want to be au natural. They want to be feeling the wind.
Dawning of the age of Aquarius. Well, freaks, let your freak flag fly. And with that, I think that we've rounded up the news this week, Molly. We've had a lot of labor organizing, a lot of community coming together, and some naked lunch.
Naked hot lunch, that's a totally different restaurant.
Yeah, that's a different restaurant.
That's where William S. Burroughs goes for lunch.
Exactly. Molly, you're the best. Thanks for rounding up the news with me.
Yeehaw.
Got it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. Your host is Bianca Martin. We're produced by Dylan Brogan, Elizabeth Kama, and me, Molly Stentz. Music is by Carl Christensen. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell someone you love about this podcast? You can also get more news delivered right to your inbox from our friends at Madison Minutes. We're off for Memorial Day, so see you right back here Tuesday morning with more news from around the city. Bye! Happy weekend. Happy Memorial Day.